Spoilers for the following. Hold up. Don't leave just yet. Okay. If you don't want spoilers for these things, you just keep watching, okay? Okay? I'll do one of those screen things where it says skip to this part so you don't get spoiled. And if you want to be extra safe, I'll put timestamps in the description, okay? Okay? Okay. An end is only a beginning in disguise. Craig D. Lunsborough.
There is no real ending. It's just the place where you stop the story. Frank Herbert.
It is good to have an end to a journey towards, but it is the journey that matters in the end.
I love stories. You can find stories everywhere, in TV shows, in movies, in art, in music, in books, in manga, in video games. Stories are everywhere. And I love endings. All stories have one, and if it doesn't, it will. Endings can be very hit or miss. The greatest stories can have terrible endings, and the worst can somehow have great ones. And very rarely, you'll see the rare ones. The one and only, the perfect endings. Now, of course, this is all subjective, but to me, a perfect ending is an ending that makes you satisfied with how it ended, but still yearn for more. Every time you think about it, you're sad because it's over, but the ending was so beautiful. It was just perfect. When I tried to categorize perfect endings, I like to think that perfect endings are on a spectrum. We all know the color spectrum, the spectrum of technology integration, the electromagnetic spectrum, and the male ponytail acceptability spectrum. But may I introduce to you the kill to chill spectrum. Now, you may be confused. I know what chill means, but what does kill mean? Well, let's see what the definition of kill is. Overwhelm, bracket, someone, bracket, with an emotion. Also, I just wanted something that rhymes with chill. But anyways, let's go through the spectrum and see where some of my favorite perfect endings place. Going from the most kill ending to the most chill. Now, to the very, very left here, the story with the most kill ending isn't actually just one story, but a series. Of course, I'm talking about the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Now, while on its cover, the Xenoblade series may look like a cringe anime game with waifus that have tits bigger than their heads, with British voices left and
What
right.
about babies? You guys got any babies?
The stories just are incredible. If I were to place the games on their own little kill to chill spectrum, it would probably look something like this. Xenoblade 2 is to the very left, closest to kill. Xenoblade 3, while still quite close to kill, is right spank in the middle of the first two, and the first game probably has the most chill ending in the series. Now, let's dive into the series' endings, starting with the first game in the series, Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles, the first game in the Xenoblade series, tells the story of two titans at war. On one titan, Bionis, we have biological life living on its back, and living on the other, Mechonis, we have mechanical life. The residents of both titans are in an eternal war, and in this war, we find our main character, Shulk. Shulk is the wielder of the legendary sword, the Monado. This legendary sword, while not the Xenoblade, gives him the ability to randomly see visions and glimpses into the future. Now, skipping all the way to the end of the story, because that's what this whole video is about, basically, we find out that the soul of the Bionis itself was inside Shulk this whole time and using his body as a vessel. Basically, the guy who is inside Shulk is Zanza, one of the two gods of this world and the Bionis itself. Bro survives off the souls of dead people and is scared that people are going to stop living on him and he'll eventually die. So he made this great plan where he would basically kill everyone and restart the world so he can live forever. Since he can also see the future, he doesn't shut up about how all this is predestined. But of course, Shulk and the gang aren't having any of that. So they go to outer space to beat Zanza up. While they beat him up, Shulk literally becomes God himself. And they kill Zanza. God. The game ends with the longest cutscene with beautiful music, where we see the war finally over, and everyone's able to rebuild and live happily ever after. Because of this happily ever after ending, it's probably the chillest of all the Xenoblade endings, but compared to other endings that exist, it's still one hell of a kill ending, because we literally went to outer space, killed God, and became God ourselves. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The boobs are big, but its personality is bigger. Xenoblade 2's story is independent from Xenoblade 1's, but it's still a Xenoblade game. While the world Xenoblade 2 takes place in is called Allrest, the people of Allrest live on Titans too, but a lot more. Xenoblade 2's story is about a group of idiots on a journey to the World Tree, a giant tree in the center of the world, and at the top of said tree is to be a mythical land, a place where the people of the dying world can go to live. Now, to the ending. Oh, the ending. It's enough to make a grown man cry.
Director, the conduit's authorization has failed. How come? We're locked out by Professor Klaus. Let's begin the experiment.
Holy shit! Oh, wait, sorry, you guys probably have no idea what that was all about. Okay, so something I didn't explain back in the Xenoblade 1 ending was that Xanto was actually previously a human who began the experiment and created a new world. And in this new world, became God and all that good stuff. And Xenoblade 2 actually found a way to connect its world to the world of Xenoblade 1. You see, Xanta's experiment created a new universe where Xenoblade 1 takes place, and one half of himself was transported to this new universe and became Xanta. But the other half stayed in the original universe and became the Architect, God, and created and shaped the world of Xenoblade 2. The last chapter of the game already kicks off with a bang and ends with one too. As you need to put in mind that Xenoblade 2 is marketed as a completely standalone game with no connections at all to Xenoblade 1. So when those OG players realized that this game was actually connected to Xenoblade 1, you knew shit was gonna be crazy. So then we meet Klaus himself. We have a little chit chat. We kill the big bad guy, where we get another Xenoblade 1 fan service moment.
Today, we use our power to fell a god, and then seize our destiny.
And oh no, the space station is falling apart. Yes, the ending of this game also takes place in space. What are we ever going to do? Well, good thing for us, Numa knows how to save the space station. But oh no, Numa lied to us. She's going to sacrifice herself. Oh no, Numa lied to us, and she's going to sacrifice herself. Here, let's go back a few hours and talk about Pyra and Mithra. One of the most important concepts in Xenoblade 2 is the concept of blades. Blades are, to quote the fandom, weaponized life forms linked to a driver. Basically, they're swords with big boobs who emerge from crystals when they resonate with the driver. Basically, a wielder who's usually just a normal human like you and me. If you still don't understand, think of it like Pokemon. We have our trainer, and instead of catching Pokemon with balls, the Pokemon come out of crystals, and we fight by using their swords and whatnot while they grant us powers. Pirate and Mithra are Aegises, the legendary sword, the God Blade. Well, actually, okay, so Mithra is the original Aegis, but after killing a whole continent with her god level powers, she creates a whole new personality, who is Pyra, and they both share the same body, which they control at different times. Because they're Aegises, they're special. Most normal blades can't die, but they do return to their crystals and lose their memories when their driver dies. But because they're both an Aegis, even if their driver dies, they don't return to their core crystal, so they can't lose their memories. Because they can't die, they're cursed with the memories of all the terrible things they've done with their power. And this is why they want to meet the Architect, their father, the only person who can kill them. But, of course, they meet Rex, who saves them from their depression and helps them unlock their third and final form, Numa, a combination of both their personalities. So, seeing Numa on the other side of the fallen bridge, all alone, after everything we've been through, it's gut-wrenching. And Rex, our lovable protagonist who cares about everyone so much, tries everything to reach her, but it's hopeless. He tries his hookshot, which is too short, and he asks Poppy, his robot friend, to carry him over there. But she made a promise with Mithra, that she won't help Rex. We see the absolute despair in Rex's eyes, and we hear it in his voice. As Rex cries, all the friends that he's made along the way come and support him and tell him that he needs to do it for her and that he needs to respect her decision. You can tell that Rex is still not okay with this, but he knows it's the right thing to do. And after giving Rex the rest of her life force, Numa's gone. The gang then get into an escape craft and escape the blown up space station. And with that, we hear her final line.
Rex, I'm so glad to have met you. Our time together was short, a fraction in long, longer years. But it's been warmer and brighter than any time I can remember before. You shone a light on my melancholy path. You showed me the way. Thank you for that gift of light.
So tell me, how was it?
Do you really want to know? Well,
And then, while holding back your tears and just processing everything that's happened as you watch the credits, they pull this on you. They pull out a montage of all your moments with Pyre and Mithra, with the most beautiful lyrics being sung over it. Why, Monolith Soft? Why? Why would you do this to me? And when the credits end, the song continues and the post-credits start. Pyre and Mithra's core crystal glows, and the two of them emerge. It's a beautiful moment. They whisper something, and it ends. Now, don't start jumping with joy just yet. Even though they came back from their core crystal, and their sacrifice earlier may seem stupid, here's the thing.
Are you sure about that?
Remember, Pyre and Mithra are still blades, and remember what happens when blades return to their core crystals? Most normal blades can't die, but they do return to their crystals and lose their memories when their driver dies. It's confirmed that there are two things that they could be saying at the very end. Either, hello Rex, or hello, I'm Pyre or Mithra. If they said the former, that means that they still have all their memories. And if they said the latter, that means they don't. I don't know. It really makes you think, and it makes this happy reunion kind of sad. As you think, maybe they don't remember anything. The friends they made in their journey. But hold on, if they did lose their memories, it's not entirely bad, right? They've finally been given the chance to forget all their painful memories. That's good, right? And to put the cherry on top of the mountain of sadness, the chapter ends with the words, and thus, boy met girl. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the first game to actually make me cry. Sure, I've watered up because of a lot of games, but I don't actually count that as crying. To me, crying means tears running down your face and sobbing. So like, the final boss cutscene and whatnot was kinda mediocre, probably the weakest in the series, but the ending cutscene, oh the ending cutscene. It found a perfect way to be an emotional, kill-like experience like Xenoblade 2, but still have hints of chill. After defeating Zed, we get this beautiful cutscene of our protagonists on a cliff, looking over to the two worlds of Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2. Oh yeah, and if you didn't know, the basic plot of Xenoblade 3 is that the world of Xenoblade 1 and the world of Xenoblade 2 are forced to be at war in a world called Ionios. And our main characters, half from the world of Xenoblade 1 and half from the world of Xenoblade 2, are able to become Ouroboros and be freed from the shackles that this world imposes on them. And our goal is to free the whole world as well and stop this war. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's quite confusing, so that's all you really need to know for now. So, after defeating the final boss, the main characters of Xenoblade 3 start talking about the future and whatnot, and it's beautiful. The animations are great throughout the whole game, but I think they really peak in this one scene here. And after this scene, we see Noah all alone with his sword, and he throws it into the ocean. Of course, meaning that there's no more need for it, as they can live in a world of peace now. And then, the very last part of the cutscene. Oh god. Start the music. We start with Mio and Noah, looking over the cliff to the ocean. We get some cute chit-chat, where they thank each other for everything. This scene then is followed by each couple saying their goodbyes, as the two worlds are going to split apart. And like, each game had its couples, Shulk with Fiora and Melia, Rex with Mythra Pioneer, but there was so much more focus on the couples in this game, and watching each of them saying goodbye, it's damaging. We see Lancey and Senna talk about how they can't work out together anymore, and they'll train every day thinking about each other, and their conversation quickly cuts off with Senna quickly wiping away her tears. Tyon, being the nerd that he is, gives Uni a herbal tea recipe, and of course he thought ahead and everything needed for the tea is from her world. Then, Uni being Uni plays with Tyon's heart, calling him her fourth best bud. Fourth, because she collects 4-leaf clovers, and their 4 leaves are what makes them so special. And then Noah and Mio, they finally kiss. We then get quick shots of each queen, Melia and Nia from the past 2 games, talking to their old friends, giving us some sweet fan service as we get to see Shulk's replica Minato, Poppy looking absolutely beautiful with the new game's graphics, and then a picture of our characters from Xenoblade 2, all grown up, which freaked everyone out by the way. Can we just take a moment to take this in? Like, I'm pretty sure we all know who the father of all 3 babies is? Holy sh! And as the world split apart, our characters, they can't take it anymore, and they sprint for each other, just trying to reach each other, which is like a stab to the heart. And as the worlds fade away, they wave goodbye, and promise to see each other again. Noah's final line of the game, I think, wraps up the whole series beautifully. Being the last game in the trilogy, it had to wrap up the main themes of the whole series, one of the themes being about the fear of the future. In Xenoblade 1, Zanza fears his future demise when the people living on him leave, not giving him the ether that he needs to live when they die. So he creates the cycle of destruction and regeneration, where he would kill all living things and completely restart life. When Shulk becomes a god, he's given the choice to allow the world to continue stagnating, or let it evolve to the next level. When Shulk doesn't know what to do, his friends have this to say.
I cannot be a god. Too right. You're great and all, but there's no way you're a god.
Everyone.
Look, don't worry, Shulk. None of us want to be gods anyway. And I don't really know what the future holds, but we just want to live our life as it comes.
Eating grub, sleeping, laughing, trying, sometimes arguing. Sounds all right.
Yes, he's right. And being with the ones we love, that's enough.
Even so, we change little by little. Every day is a little different from the last. We do not know what the future will hold.
More fun not knowing. Really want to have fun.
Life's little surprises are what makes it great. We don't know what's going to happen. It's worrying sometimes, but it's also exciting. Don't you think?
Yeah. Isn't that called progress? Aren't we all continuously evolving? I'm not sure we need a more dramatic change than that.
Yeah. You're right. Little by little. Each day as it comes. That's how we should live.
In Xenoblade 2, the antagonists of the game think that the world needs to end, the world being filled with only greed and destruction, and it doesn't deserve to live. Rex argues that that's just the world we live in, and that we need to find a way forwards in this world, and move on towards the future.
See what, brat? The world's never gonna change if that's all you got!
It will change. I will change it. That's the reason we've come all this way.
Why don't you just let it go? Who do you think you're doing this for?
I'm doing it for myself. If it helps put smiles on people's faces, helps them live their lives together, then that's my role in this world! Jin told me to take care of you. In his place, you know. Jin never wanted to die. He just wanted to connect with you. He did it because you showed him a path.
And how many people died because of it? You'd forgive him just like that?
Forgiving isn't that easy, but that's just the world we live in. We need to find a way forward within that world. Even you used to think like that once!
Blades, living in an endless cycle of losing their memories, want to break out of this cycle. Flesh eaters, blades that ate the hearts of their drivers just so they can keep living without returning to their core crystals, is a dark and cruel solution to their problem, just so they can keep their memories. Xenoblade 3's villain, Zed, is literally a physical manifestation of humanity's desire for safety and security, causing the creation of the Endless Now and of villains, Mobius, who ensure that the war goes on. The people of this world are forced to fight in a war that they need to kill to stay alive in. The whole world living in an endless cycle of war is quite similar to Xenoblade 1, and the soldiers in this war are quite similar to Blades, as when these soldiers die on the battlefield, they're reborn as new people without their old memories. And also, the beautiful ending song, Where We Belong, sung beautifully by Sarah Ueda, fits the theme very well. So yeah, I think Noah's last line does a wonderful job at summing everything up, perfectly.
This is the truth of our world. Memories melt in the morning light, and then a new day begins. Roads stretch out before us. So many paths. Which do you choose? That's up to you. Sometimes you might run astray. You'll stop, maybe cry in frustration. But you know, that's all right. For the roads, they go on without end. So look up, face forward, toward your chosen horizon, and just walk on.
So, we're finally done talking about all these Xenoblade games, which deservingly take their place as kill as we can go. So, let's take a break from these kill endings and talk about some chill endings, two to be exact, and what better way to start off than to talk about The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is a journey. We start in the peaceful and humble Shire. We pass through great locations such as Rivendell, the Mines of Moria, and eventually Mordor. We see great battles and legendary wars, and the destruction of the One Ring at the end of this great journey. But it's not over yet. Aragorn is crowned as king, Frodo leaves Middle-earth, and Sam, the hobbit who stood by Frodo's side no matter what happened, who was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, just comes back home to his family.
But Sam turned to buy water, and so came back up the hill as day was ending once more. And he went on, and there was yellow light and fire within. And the evening meal was ready, and he was expected. And Rose drew him in, and set him in his chair, and put little Eleanor upon his lap. He drew a deep breath. Well, I'm back, he said.
Sam starts his journey in the peaceful Shire, travels to deadly locations such as Mount Doom, and finishes his story all the way back in the Shire. This story of great wars and death ends with the most melancholy and familiar phrase, I'm back. I just adore this ending. I'm back is just such a casual phrase, and seeing it used at the end of this legendary story just drives home the fact that it's all over and that Sam can finally start living the humble life that he left behind. Now, while The Lord of the Rings' last line is possibly peak chill, I still think that there's a perfect ending that not only ends chill, but its final complex resolution is just as chill. This ending, which is also what inspired me to make this video, is from the webcomic series, Hooky. Hooky takes place in a world with witches and people who aren't. Both groups fear each other, and because of this fear, they end up committing pretty gruesome crimes, such as kidnappings and burnings, which only feed into their tension. We follow the White twins, Dorian and Danny. Dorian's magical abilities are spectacular and pretty advanced for his age. Dorian's more bookish and a bit socially awkward, so it's hard for him to make friends. Danny's quite the opposite. Danny's very social and is able to become friends with almost anybody. But she's terrible at magic. Whenever she attempts magic, something always goes wrong, and she's only really good at curses, though her curses are usually an accident. Hooky starts off with the twins being late to magic school, so in order to not disappoint their parents, they take the mentorship of Master Pendragon, who's revealed to have seen a vision of one of the two twins as the future king of the witches, who would lead the witches in war. During the story, Dorian is able to become more social, and he becomes friends with the local bakery worker Mark, eventually becomes friends with his fellow housemate Nico, and finds a spark of romance with the freckled princess Monica. Danny's not as lucky though. None of her magic goes right. She curses her new friend Nico. She almost gets burnt alive by angry townsfolk. She watches her friend get stabbed and die. She befriends an evil spirit and watches her twin brother get burnt alive, which is the final straw, and she breaks down. But what Danny doesn't know is that her brother's still alive, and it was only a doll that was burnt. We get a 3-year time skip, where after the staged burning, Dorian goes missing and Danny is taken away by her mother to become the prophesized queen of the witches, but she remains in a lifeless state. Their friends find Dorian's lifeless body under his pet dragon and are able to wake him up. After the witches interrupt the marriage of the new king and queen, Danny wanders into the nearby forest. The group head into the forest to find Danny, where they find her and fight the evil spirit that's been controlling her every action. Dorian defeats the evil spirit, but learns that Danny's condition wasn't caused by the spirit, but something even more powerful. In an attempt to return Danny to her old and cheerful state, they return to their old Master Pendragon's house, where they try to reawaken some old memories. Their plan is interrupted by a small group of witches trying to get their queen back. After some blood is shed, they realize that the cause for Danny's soulless state is a curse that she inflicted on herself when she saw Dorian get burnt, a curse that would help her feel nothing as the conflict with witches got worse. Now, one of the reasons why I consider Hooky's ending one of the most chill perfect endings is because it doesn't end in a big volcano. It doesn't end with one of our characters turning into a god, one of our characters sacrificing themselves, or even our characters being split apart and never being able to see each other ever again. Hooky ends in a quaint little village with just a small group of people, where a new king and queen announce the end of the war of the magical and non-magical people, and to celebrate, our favorite little bookworm, now all grown up, sends off everyone's hats into the bright blue sky, turns them all into a colorful spectacle, and then...
Dorian! Did you do this? How cool! It's beautiful! Yes. I think I want this one. What do you think? How does it look on me?
After seeing the witch conflict finally over, Danny breaks out of her curse and returns to her previous state. Now, unlike most stories, this isn't the end just yet. Hooky actually has a pretty chunky epilogue. Witches are now able to live without fear. Dorian starts a school and pursues a relationship. Danny, wanting to help the cause, travels around the world to spread their new customs. And, well, that's it. It's over. Hooky is an amazing read. The conclusion did not disappoint and fit Hooky very well. You could almost say that it was perfect. What's sad is that there isn't much Hooky to experience after the end of the series. If you search up Hooky on YouTube, basically everything you'll get are AMVs and edits. Though there is this one animatic that I just cannot stop watching. The art is very nice, though I'm assuming they're just traces from the actual webcomic. And the music used fits Hooky very well, and actually became a personal favorite song of mine. There are also the physical editions of Hooky coming out, but yeah, this series doesn't have much content outside the story, and I guess that somehow adds to the ending feeling ever more special. So, those are a few looks at stories I personally think had the perfect conclusion. This video took a while to finish, especially with the Hooky stuff, but I was able to grind it out by the end. I want to thank my friends for helping with this video, whether that was just looking over the script, letting me include their voices, or even just with their support. This is a fun video to make. I just love forcing people to listen to me talk about the things I like. And with this video done, I can finally start working on other projects.